Guten Tag, meine sehr verehrten Damen und Herren. Ich freue mich sehr, heute bei Ihnen zu sein und einen Gast Ihnen vorzustellen, den ich zuletzt hier in Hamburg gesehen habe vor 1,5 Jahren bei einer spektakulären Veranstaltung, als er zum Jubiläum unserer Zeitung 70 Jahre die Zeit gegen 70 Zeitleser angetreten ist. Ein Kampf, der 6 Stunden dauerte, und am Ende hatte er eine Partie verloren und 2 Partien unentschieden geben müssen. Magnus Carlsen aus Norwegen, 27 Jahre alt, Schachweltmeister seit 2013 und auf der Weltrangliste Platz Nummer 1 und nach allgemeiner Einschätzung auch der stärkste Schachspieler, den es bisher im Schachsport gab. Einen herzlichen Applaus für Magnus Carlsen. Ich muss das Interview leider auf Englisch führen, da mein Norwegisch nicht ausreicht. I said I have to interview in English because my Norwegian is not sufficient.
Yeah, I can speak a bit of German, but I think people understand me better if I speak English.
Okay. Magnus, our question is the human brain still better as a robot? And to approach this question, I would like to ask you some questions about how do you think playing chess, and then later, how does a robot think playing chess? So let's say you are in a game with a strong opponent, you have a position on the board. What do you do?
I think for me the main difference between playing artificial intelligence and a human opponent is that with a human opponent you always, it's not like you expect, but you anticipate that if you put pressure, your opponent will make a mistake. They will blunder at some point, and there's like a struggle between ideas. If you're playing the computer, you'll know that it will not blunder tactically, and it's probably going to make some misjudgments, but it's nearly always going to more than compensate by that by calculating so much faster than we can.
So calculation is a strong point of the machine. They can calculate faster than we do.
Yes, obviously that's always going to be the problem, and that's something that we can never we can never shoot the gap there. That's always going to be a difference that we cannot compete with that in the long run.
What about intuition? What role plays intuition when you play a game? Do you always calculate when you see a position, or do you have also some intuition about what to do?
Well, this is one advantage that humans have over computers, and also strong players over weaker players, that we don't have to consider every single move, because some of them we know are bad in general terms. That might lead to mistakes sometimes, because we wouldn't consider a move that we think is outlandish, while it actually might be good in that particular scenario. But over time, following in your intuition in these cases will be beneficial. So I think all strong players rely on their intuition whenever whatever opponent they are facing, and certainly for me, it's been an ally of mine for many years, and I feel that whenever I play badly, it's because I don't follow my intuition. I overthink things.
So that doesn't mean that if you have a certain position on the board and you have a look on this position, you don't start to calculate immediately, but you have a certain idea what's wrong with it, or what let's say, a chess piece is in a bad situation or something like this?
Yeah, no, I mean, first you look and then you calculate.
Uh-huh.
Like, first is just look, no like pure calculation at the start. Yeah, let's say there is a knight in the corner which has very few squares, then you usually don't have to calculate long variations to verify that this knight is in trouble. You just say, yeah, this is not good.
So it may happen that a weaker player look at the position and he doesn't see anything. He starts to calculate. He thinks, oh, my opponent could do this, and then I could do that. While you just see, okay, there's a structural problem, and how could I solve it? And then start to calculate specific variations.
Yeah, exactly. So, first you have to identify the characteristics of the position, and then you can at some point start to calculate. Because I mean, you always have to verify your intuition in some way, at least if it's not completely obvious. You have to do that eventually, but again, it's not the first thing you do.
Mm-hmm. Would you say that machines have intuition?
It can feel like that sometimes. Yeah, because they don't consider every single move. Like they have algorithms that allow them to cut out certain possibilities and stop calculating certain lines after a certain point. The thing is that it feels like obviously they don't have intuition. I mean, they cannot, but still it feels like the best computers are playing more and more human chess, like closer to human chess, and that's making them better, because they don't make so many of those mistakes that they used to, which was based on the horizon of the computer. They are much better at avoiding those. Yeah.
Have you seen, let's say, a game between two chess programs, and then at a certain point you thought, oh, that was a good idea, what he did?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, there is, for instance, a tournament right now between the best computers in the world, and frankly, I mean, most of the games are rubbish. To me, anyway, maybe I just don't understand them. Maybe it's just way beyond me. But still, I feel like if the brand of chess they're playing is something that cannot be understood by humans, then it's not so much worth for us anyway. But some of the games have really brilliant, deep ideas that I try to learn from. But sometimes it's finding a needle in the haystack, like.
So, but if the machines have no intuition, they have ideas?
Well, I mean, no.
It just
looks but like. It looks like they have ideas. Yeah.
And what about the rubbish? What appeals to you as rubbish when two machines play against each other?
It's just a game without ideas, basically. Like they are making moves, they are moving the pieces around, but again, either the ideas are too deep for me and other top chess players, or there is simply there is no sort of logical thread there. There is just about making the move that the computer considers the best at any time, which is obviously what they do, but it doesn't feel like there is anything more.
Chess has been a fascinating game for 1,500 years or so, And in the last 500 years, the rules are the same, haven't changed. But the way chess is played today has changed a lot in the last, let's say, 40 years or so through computerization. So if you were a grandmaster some decades ago, you could probably play a certain good variation, a certain opening for some weeks in tournaments, and today you can play it once, because the next day all your new idea is in the world and other players know it and think about new ideas in the openings to counter these ideas. So in my view, preparation has changed a lot for nowadays grandmasters. I often see grandmasters in tournaments who were not looking at the board but looking up in the sky and thinking, well, I have seen this position in the opening before, but what was the move I wanted to play? So that part of the game in the beginning is prepared, but this preparation is going so fast. How do you cope with that? Do you bother a lot about that?
I think often when it comes to opening knowledge, especially virtually known knowledge might be better than partial knowledge. I mean, the worst thing you can do is try to remember what you've analyzed.
Does it happen to you?
Yeah, sometimes, but not as much as some other strong players, because I don't have that much analysis to remember. It's a strange thing. Like more knowledge doesn't necessarily translate into better results, because I think when you think at the board with a fresh mind, you are probably better suited to pose a human opponent human problems rather than what the computer thinks is the best. And yeah, I mean, I hear about it all the time that people are mixing up these lines because they are trying to remember this prior knowledge that was acquired with computers, and it turns out that this knowledge was flawed in a way, or they can only partially remember it. And I think that's really stupid. I mean, we're just making ourselves dumber in that way.
So this is a conscious decision that you try to reduce this before the game knowledge and just to try to expand the real game, the fight in the game.
Yeah, no, I mean, clearly you need to know some things, but for me, yeah, I definitely feel that if I don't know something very well, then it's better not to know anything at all and just use my practical experience in chess. I mean, just think about what just approaches it with a fresh mind.
So that addresses another point in human ability, that is surprise. You try to surprise. You cannot surprise a machine, right?
No, that's a bit of a shame. But yeah, I mean, there is psychology in chess. It's an important part of it, and you are playing both the position and your opponent, which makes it sort of richer than to only play against the computer, because the computer obviously doesn't care.
Could you tell us some secrets? And what do you do to impress and surprise your opponents?
Well, I mean, it's just small tweaks on known ideas.
Or chess-wise?
Chess-wise.
Ah.
It's not like or something to surprise your opponent. No,
I mean,
I might, just try and in a certain situation might make a move that looks a little unorthodox, but I have maybe some specific idea in mind why this move, which usually would look bad, is maybe not that bad in this situation, and so on.
The former world chess champion Garry Kasparov was famous for making "who" as his opponent and stuff like that. And he tried it also while playing against a machine. Won a famous match with the computer. He was kind of making faces and stuff, but the computer didn't react to that really, and finally won.
Yeah, no, I assume the programmers might have been scared, but the computer certainly was. And I think, I mean, it's very well known the matches Garry had with Deep Blue. The first match he won quite comfortably, even though he lost the first game. And then the second match, the second match was kind of his own fault that he lost. I mean, I think he was still vastly stronger than the computer at that point. Like, in one game, he resigned in an almost drawn position, and in the last game, he just self-destructed because he had all these ideas of human interference and everything. It's understandable that under these thoughts he didn't manage to perform his best, but I think purely chess-wise that he was still better back then, and still for a few years after that, at least till the early 2000s, it was still a very even struggle at worst for humans against computers, but clearly during the last 10 years, it's not going in our favor.
If you play against a computer program, a normal distance 2-hour game, something like this, do you have a chance?
I never tried it.
You didn't try it?
No, I haven't tried it. I don't like to embarrass myself too often, so that's why I haven't. And I find it much more interesting to play humans. I do imagine. It does feel like if I wanted to make a draw with white, I should be able to do that even against the strongest computers. But and with 2 hours to play, you shouldn't really blunder too much. But to win a game, that's going to be really, really hard.
So we saw that the humans have certain possibilities like intuition, like psychology, surprise, that work very well with humans, but not with machines. Do the machines have any flaws in comparison to us?
Yeah, I mean, they don't feel the game. They don't understand. They don't understand the game really. They don't have this intuition, like something feels right or feels wrong, and they still make positional misjudgments. But then again, they
do misjudge because the algorithms have a flaw in a certain.
Yeah, exactly. And they come a long, long way, but it's still. It's still possible for them to make mistakes, and they still make some mistakes, calculation mistakes, based on horizon, or also these misjudgments are sometimes based on horizon thing, especially when it comes to sacrificing material. Then they might not be able to look far enough ahead to judge whether this works or not, while the human will just look at it and says, this should work.
You're not only the world champion, you have also a company and you are selling an app that's called Play Magnus. So how much Magnus is in that app?
I mean, the openings are mine, and there is a difference in playing style, but we're trying to improve it still, because it's very, very difficult to make a computer make human mistakes, sort of. Like at the younger ages, the computer plays at the right level, like I was at that age. If anybody doesn't know, the point of the app is that you play against me at a certain age. Like if it's at 5, it plays random.
So I can check if you beat me with 5 when you were 5.
Yeah, no. If you beat me at 5, you have probably been actively trying to lose. No, but the thing is, it plays at more or less the correct level. But to have it make human mistakes is very difficult, because the computer doesn't miscalculate in the same way, and
so you have to emulate the human flaws.
Yeah, and this takes a lot of time, but we are working on it. And what I feel when I'm playing the app is that even though the level is correct, sometimes it feels like it's just making fun of me because it knows it has to make some mistakes at some point, so it just blunders something and beats me anyway. And and that can still be improved. But I think we've come.
That's very funny. For decades, chess computers have been programmed to get stronger and stronger, and now chess programs have to be weaker.
Yeah.
That we still want to fight them.
Yeah. No, it's interesting. The little tweaks and such you can do, and we're trying to get better at it.
One thing that leaves for beating a machine is just to pull out the plug, which is not, you have not to fear any legal things after that.
Yeah, or you can just smash it, that also works.
Did you do it? You don't play computers at all?
No, I mean, I've smashed the controller on my PlayStation, but not on...
What game was that?
No, I think that was just FIFA a few years ago. I actually did it several times. Like there was a game shop nearby, and there we go. Not you again. I know what you've done, and so on. But I mean, that's one of the reasons why I don't play computers that often. It's because they are dumb, and I don't like losing to dumb people. It's that simple.
So that is an answer to our question. If the humans are still better than robots, I mean, they are dumb in the end.
Yeah, they are dumb, but it doesn't mean that we can beat them. They are dumb, but they are powerful.
Yeah. Another phenomenon which is pretty new in chess, and I know that you do it as well, is playing internet chess. That means you don't play on a board with an opponent here in the room, but you play with somebody who might be in Beijing or in Oslo or in New York or so. What are the differences between playing a normal game in a tournament and playing in the internet?
Again, it's just a feeling, it's just a perception of mine, but I do feel that you can sort of feel the game better when you play it with the board than you can when you're looking at...
Why is it? Because it's physical?
Yeah, because it's physical. I don't know, maybe you can see the geometry of the board better or something. I do feel like I play a bit deeper over the board, even though it's the same time control as online. But obviously, it's a great opportunity. You can sit at home, play, and get excellent training against whomever you want to play at any time. So it's a blessing for chess, obviously, and it's helped me a lot to practice over the years.
You played a tournament yesterday, I think, online tournament?
Yeah, a couple of days ago. It's always a disappointment for me, unfortunately, because then I'm thinking I want to go there and I want to play well, and then when it comes down to it, then I'm just a little anxious. I don't want to lose and so on. So the joy sort of gets sucked out of it sometimes. But try again next time.
Since we are on a health conference, I would like to ask you also a question concerning health. One factor for humans, very important, is that once you go to the board, you need to be in a very good physical shape. What do you do for maintaining this shape?
I mean, frankly speaking, last year or so, I haven't been very good at it. So I feel that my physical shape as well as my chess is just going. So now I'm trying to rebuild it.
I remember
everything and get back to the shape I had a few years ago, because then I had a healthy body and a healthy mind, and I was playing very well.
I remember doing the last World Chess Championship, or the one before. Between two rounds, I saw you behind the hotel playing basketball with your team, and some poor journalists who had to move.
Yeah.
Norwegian journalists, so that you were playing all the time. You're doing soccer and basketball and everything, and I always had the impression that you do it. Mainly, you do it because you really like it. It's not just because it's good for you, but also because it's fun.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's. It doesn't hurt that it helps your mind to exercise. But yeah, I like to do it for fun, and you also have to remember that. I mean, there wasn't so much to do there in Russia. So. It was a good thing, but
that sounds like, since next year you have to fight to retain your title again in a year from now, and so that means that you now start again to do more sports.
Yeah, no, I will try and get better in every way leading up to that, and I have great confidence that I'm still, young and strong enough to be able to make that transformation and be even better than I was before, which I will need to be to win. I mean, it doesn't. It's not enough to be the same as you used to be. You always have to be better.
Is it more difficult to be a world chess champion than to become a world chess champion?
It's not only about being the champion. It's also about being number one in rankings, winning tournaments, and so on. And that is definitely hard to maintain. It's one thing to do it 1 year, it's another to do it several years. And unfortunately, this year I haven't been able to do it. I still have a couple more chances to do well, but it hasn't been great so far. And that's one of my motivations for the next year, to sort of regain the status as an undisputed number one, but you see it in every sport. Like people who reach the top, they always struggle to maintain it for many reasons. I mean, but mainly because the opponents are becoming stronger, and they might even be hungrier. So that's going to be a challenge for me.
You mentioned the motivation. Motivation is something that machines also do not know. Humans are motivated, more or less, and machines also, they don't get tired. What do you do if you have to play a game and, let's say, I don't know if it ever happens, or you have a sleepless night? Does it happen once in a while?
Yeah, it's happened before big games. Like however much you want to sleep, and you do all the things in your mind that usually make you sleep, and it still doesn't work. The good thing is for me is that I don't drink coffee like ever. So if I've had a sleepless night, I can drink coffee, and coffee works very well because I'm not used to it. So that can help, or just you can get through one sleepless night and still play okay. It's another thing is if there are several. But the interesting thing is the first thing that goes if you've had a sleepless night or you don't feel so well. The first thing that goes is the intuition. That's you can be more creative when you're tired.
Why is that?
I don't know, but I think it's like this in every field that you if you're tired, you can be more creative, but you are less precise. And yeah, for me certainly, I've had some of my most creative ideas when I don't feel well or I'm tired, and then I'm just making the dumbest mistakes and not finding simple solutions in simple positions. Yeah.
During the World Chess Championships, you have a doctor with you. What does he do?
Well, I mean, usually become like sick in some way, and so I get some medicine. But it's mostly a precautionary thing. It's not like I'm getting some incredible vitamin mix or whatever athletes do these days to bend the law. So it's just mainly a precautionary measure.
Does he have a look at your nutrition, what you eat, or?
Yeah, but it's mostly important what you do before the tournament. Like during the tournament, partially you have to feel well, and you have to enjoy it. So obviously you have to eat more or less healthy, but most of all you have to be in a good spirit.
Uh-huh. So I know that way back you liked to go in the middle of the night to a gas station years ago to have some hamburgers or so. This is something that does not occur anymore?
No, not so much. I mean, I am still. I don't have a regular job, so I might still stay up in the night sometimes. But yeah, there also aren't any gas stations around where I live. So.
Magnus, thank you very much for the talk. Stay healthy and good luck for the next year's championship. And tonight you have a challenge here, 12 chess players, amateurs, try to challenge you. Do you have a feeling, will it be difficult?
Well, there is a time constraint. Maybe if there wasn't a time constraint, it wouldn't be that challenging. But I have to finish all the games in half an hour.
All the 12 games?
Yeah, all the 12 games, which is not going to be easy. And there are always some surprises from my opponents. Sometimes they are happy surprises for me, but sometimes there are challenges. So I'm really looking forward to that tonight.
We will see that later. Thank you very much for being here. Vielen Dank, dass Sie alle gekommen sind. Und gleich gibt es, glaube ich, noch ein kleines Get-Together draußen und einen wunderschönen Tag noch.